Hey, what up guys, and welcome to a bit of a special video. This one is in cooperation with my Men of War series that I've got going right now. Well, cooperation, I don't exactly know, but it is in relation to it, to say the least. I've based my series off various realistic locations in Crimea, and I thought we'd go through them from episode 1 to 6. Yes. 6 being the latest one that you've already hopefully seen. But we'll go to episode 1, which took place here around Kerch. And although there were no bridges here, there was indeed a bridge on the map that we did play on for the first episode. So I like to pretend that we saw the Russians crossing here with their BTRs, marine sections, simply knocking out the first defenses that Ukrainians did have here in this sector. There was a quick Ukrainian counterattack that came from, I'd say, some bases around here that they had. Light vehicles, some tanks, but they were quite beaten there by the Russians. We saw a small American task force, and due to the escalation of the crisis here, the Americans had actually started doing trainings with the Ukrainian soldiers here around Kerch, and the American company or battalion of Marines who were there with some vehicles were able to respond. And of course, you know, they had their guns, their armor with them. Of course, you know, they're training with the Ukrainians. The Ukrainians are getting attacked. This is an escalation of war. They jump in, they fight, and that sort of escalated the entire thing. They couldn't really hold them back, and they had to pull back into Kerch. That's where we saw them hold the town hall here. Continuous Russian reinforcements came in, and it was incredibly hard to hold it, and they were wiped out. That was pretty much all Ukrainian and American presence on this part of the peninsula. The Russians had a pretty swift, bold blitzkrieg move here by simply taking the main road straight to Feodatia. But somewhere around Lhova here, somewhere between Lhova and Primorsky, there were, in fact, some Ukrainian forces, a small garrison of men who were able to gather some quick equipment and actually ambush the Russians on their way. And that is what we did see there in episode 3. Very exciting. It stopped them a bit, and it was enough for the Ukrainians to gather the strength in Feodosia, which the Russians were trying to reach. Main reason is because it's a sort of a big port area where the Russians can move troops here from Novorossiysk and Sochi and other areas straight up to there. So that's indeed very interesting. Talking about Sochi, I believe there's a Sochi further north as well, unless they actually do have the Olympic Games down there. But that aside, my sport knowledge is not the topic of this video. The Ukrainians were able to hold them back in Feodasia, and the Russians were forced to pull further back here up to Batalny and Primorsky, where they are currently located. Further north then, in Frontove, the Ukrainians had gathered an armored battalion to try and punch back straight into the Russians. Now they had been beaten from Feodasia. We'll beat them back to Batalny, and we'll put them on the road straight back to Kerch. It was a really, really bold try here over the village here, but unfortunately it did fail. The Russians were a little stronger than the Ukrainians had thought, and they could reinforce from nearby cities such as Simotska and Batalny, where they had left some reservist forces that were indeed ambushed during the ambush attack there to Feodosia in episode 3. So unfortunately that was a fail. However, though, in the other episode that follows, we did see the Americans and their presence in Vladislavka here by the edge of the village. Russian forces were coming in masses over the fields, and the US were able to hold them. Barely, but they were, and it was quite a brave hold. The Americans had arrived from Sevastopol, where they have their navy, took the highway straight up through here, the yellow displayed one here, straight through Simferopol, going above Feodasia and straight into Vladislavka to set up a perimeter. It's important that they can try and hold this area. Now, Having shown you what I've done right now, I thought I'd take into account that the Ukrainian main army is fighting along the borders here in Kharkiv, Luhansk, and etc. Kharkiv being Kharkov, by the way, where we had seen the famous tank battles of World War II. So yes, very interesting indeed. I believe, yeah, that must be Kharkov. Kharkov, I think of at least. Then again, places change names now and then. Very interesting indeed. That's why they are a little under-strengthened here. I was thinking of maybe pulling through some special ops operations here in Sholoknie, whatever, with like Delta Force troops landing in Little Birds, no fighting VDV over the control of, say, a military base out here on the pier, or a little village, or a radar station. I could mimic a radar station quite easily. It's not an issue creating the battlefields here. Perhaps you guys want to see an even larger scale invasion and more city battles. If you want to see some proper city battles with, you know, proper council estate buildings, etc., I suggest we allow the Russians a little bit of breathing room here into Simferopol, perhaps through naval invasions in Alushta or whatever. We'll see if we might be able to kick them out of here and fortify and focus on further attacks further north. That is all really possible, and I intend to continue this. In fact, I do have very exclusive access to a mod that brings you down here to the western parts of the world, or not the western parts of the world, but Western Europe at least, a few 60, 70, 80 years back. We're talking World War II. It's called Totalerkrieg 1940. Is it 1939? Yes, 1939, sorry. And it is a very big overhaul, and it's not quite like the vanilla Men of War. It is quite a bit more than that. And it's a mod that I really just love. Can't wait to actually see that in the works. I'm pretty sure that would be amazing. Other than that, stay updated. This has been episode update 1 to 6 on the current situation in Crimea. And in our series, I think I will do one at episode 6 to 12 once that comes out. Thank you guys for watching. My name has been Diplex, and I'll see you guys soon again. Bye.